Hello, everybody. This is Ted Goff here with the Michigan Online CNC Web. Tonight we have the honored guest of Vincent Doan from, I'm going to say, Orange County, California. He is the developer and owner of a program called it's called Instant Paint.
ImagePaint.
ImagePaint. And the name of your website is?
AmazonCanvas.com.
AmazonCanvas.com. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to let him run with this, and we really appreciate you coming on and showing us the software that you've developed and how it operates. And we're all looking forward to learning more about Intarsia and Inlay. So, Vincent, I'll go ahead and pass the presenting role over to you, and we'll be looking at your screen. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ted, for the invitation, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. My name is Vincent Doan. Yes, I'm the software developer for ImagePaint. I started writing the software in 2010 and introduced the software to the public at AWFS Woodworking Show in Las Vegas in 2015. I mainly developed the software for myself, but decided to share with everybody in 2015. This is my website. Well, today agenda first. We'll go through my website a little bit, maybe 5 minutes, and show you where I purchased my wood veneers, how to create an inlay or intarsia with ImagePaint software. I'll also be demonstrating the new add-on for ImagePaint called Image Finder. And we will be watching a few video clips from my website and from Kathy Y's YouTube. And then we'll have a Q&A session. At the end, if you're interested in testing your CNC with the gcode file created by ImagePaint, just email me the post-processor name you would normally use for Vectric software, since the post-processor names in ImagePaint are very similar to the names used in Vectric software. Also, I've created a 30% discount coupon code, and it will be active for 30 days. Also, the coupon is limited to the number of attendees in this seminar, webinar. So if I don't have your email address and you would like to get the coupon, please send it to support@AmazonCanvas.com. It's also on my website at the top left corner there. And I will reply with the coupon code. So here at the top, these are... Yes.
Just for 1 second. Because I passed the presenter role over to you, if somebody wants into the room and you see a little box that pops up that they want to into the room, just click on it and say allow. I may not see it because you're in the presenting role right now.
Okay, so I have to move it over here. Okay.
And also, guys, if you have a question during his demonstration here, feel free to turn your microphone on and ask him the question.
Exactly. Thank you, Ted.
Okay.
So these are the artworks I created using ImagePaint and cut with a laser. A few images you see here are have never been cut with a laser or a CNC router. They're just simulation image. For example, the flower over here, the dragon I did. So if you don't have Illustrator, you probably want to install Illustrator first before you're installing our software. And to do that, just click either the direct download button or the alternate download button to download the software. At the top menu here, you can see there are 3 versions of ImagePaint. The ImagePaint Production Pro is a plugin for Illustrator that support the laser, and the G-Code Pro version support only CNC Router or any machine that supports G-code. And the complete version is called ImagePaint CNC Pro. That one supports both laser and G-code supported CNCs. As I mentioned, Image Finder is a recent add-on that you can get as an option, and we'll demonstrate that a little bit later on. So let's go to the ImagePaint G-code Pro page. Basically, here I have created 10 video clips showing user how I would go through to create an inlay marquetry. And let's take Ted, can you help me click on this creating image library?
Okay, I just have to.
Or let me try it first and see if it works.
No, because we know it's not going to work.
Okay.
I just asked for sharing the mouse, so I should be able to. Okay, so now I should be able to do it.
Okay.
There you go. Let's see, is it working? Very choppy on our end.
Okay, I can see it. Is there audio with it?
Yeah, but I'm not getting it either. I'm not getting any sound either. Okay, so let me stop it and we'll try it again and see what happens here.
Give them back control.
Why don't you try it? Why don't you try it and see if it works on your end?
Okay. Did you give me back control?
Yeah, you got control. We can share control.
Okay.
No, not working. We can see the video, but we're not listening to the audio.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's going to work for us with this many people, but no, it's not. Let's stop it and I'll try it one more time. We did a test with this, guys, and what happened was it wasn't working when he was doing it, but when I did it, it worked. Creating an image library, is that the one you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try it one more time.
Vincent, just voiceover. You did the video. You know what to say.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Why don't you just do the voiceover there, Vincent? Talk about what you're seeing.
I'm trying to.
Okay, why don't I just do it live then?
Yeah, well, we can see this. You just explain what's going on.
Okay, I'm just renaming right now the images using the same name as in the database so that ImagePaint can recognize the image. And then I just select the folder that contains all the scan images I did earlier. And that would be the scan image folder. And ImagePaint will bring them in and populate the images panel, just like image swatches that we can use to paint the design with. Okay, so that's the only video. Maybe at the end we'll play another video, but I'm ready to start this design. It's a pattern from Kathy Weiss. And as we can see, there are pieces that already been prepared by Kathy, okay, to do inlay or intarsia. And then she painted colors to give us an idea of what color we should be using for the wood veneers. Okay. Let's see, let me move this over here. So in the top view, ImagePaint is an Adobe Illustrator plugin, currently working under Windows only. I'm working on supporting Mac OS soon. So it means you have to have Illustrator installed. before you're installing ImagePaint. It's a 2D material-based graphic design software that allows you to take full advantage of the texture, colors, and tonal variation of the physical material. In this case, we are using wood veneers, but you can also use other materials such as stone, fabric, seashell, and other decorative materials. You just need to scan them into JPEG images and use them to paint your vector artwork.
Vincent, does that mean that you can use the grain pattern of the veneer as part of your design?
Yes. I will attempt to do that a bit later. ImagePaint added to Illustrator these two menus. The ImagePaint design menu, here you can open the images panel, the verification panel, the image finder panel, and the second menu ImagePaint added to Illustrator is the ImagePaint production menu, which allows you to open the Smart G-Code panel, the CNC tool panel, and the laser panel. All those panels have been opened on my right side here. Let's take a look at the images panel. The images panel works like a color palette, but instead of color, you add images to it. Since I went through the step in the video that we just saw, ImagePaint created and managed created subdirectories to store all those images that we specify, that we have scanned. And so all I have to do now is to select this add all images, and it will add those images to the images panel. The laser panel, it creates toolpaths for laser engraver that do not support G-code. And the G-code panel here, it creates the toolpaths for CNC Router or G-code laser and other G-code supported machines like water jet cutters. And down here we have the CNC tool panel. Contains a few end mills, and all the parameters associated with the tool. And also we can add or modify different tools to this CNC tool panel. Okay, and this is the image finder that I talked about. We'll go through that a little bit later on. And also we have another panel called the verification panel. It detects various abnormalities in the design. It is used to, and we can use it to select and delete those designs before we start doing anything else. Let's see. Most of the vector artwork will contain paths that are not supposed to be in the design, especially those that you purchase from the website, you download from the website. And so with this verification panel, you can detect them and delete them. For example, here I just select the design, and we can see that there are tiny areas that it detected. So in order to select them, I just click on the checkbox here. As you can see, these are really erroneous paths. They are not part of the design. So if we zoom in, zoom out, make sure that the selection does not contain the path we want to keep. In this case, it looked like we need to delete all those erroneous paths. So I just hit the delete key and delete them. Okay. Now, before painting the design with images, we need to round the sharp corners in the design to fit the tool we plan to use. So let's zoom in to see a few. There's one. There's two actually. Okay, I'm undo. Put it back. There's another one. Okay, this is a special case where you have two pieces tucked inside another sharp corner, and that needs to be rounded differently than the other one that we just saw. So I'm going to undo. So if you look all around, you have lots of sharp corners that need to be rounded to a tool diameter that we plan to use. There are probably a few dozens of those sharp corners in this design. So in order to round the corners, all I have to do is select the whole design, open the G-code panel, specify the intended job type that for this design. In this case, I'm going to make sure that I select smart profiling because I'm planning to profiling the toolpath. And then select the tool I want to use. In this case, I want to use 0.02 inch diameter bit to cut. So I'm going to select that. And then I'll click this button called round corner button. And it just asks me to confirm that I want to round the corner for smart profiling and tool end mill 0.02 inch. I just click yes. And the progress bar will show its status. It'll take some time, about a few seconds. Okay, it's done. Let's zoom in. Okay, the corners have been rounded here. And here as well. Oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, let's put that back. Of course, these sharp corners were not rounded, and rightly so, because they're not tucked into another concave corner, so they remain sharp. There's another one that's been rounded. Okay, so we are now ready. Actually, before we start painting the design with images, there's a very cool feature in Illustrator called Simplified Path that can remove many points in a path without changing its shape. To do this, I select the design. Select Object, Path, Simplify. I want the curve precision to be 100%. I don't want to change the shape. The angle threshold, I want to set it somewhere high so it will ignore whatever angle less than 167 or so degree. And then if you take a look at the preview and look at this original, there were over 8,000 points, and it has simplified to around 1,300 points. So that's good enough. I think we'll just hit OK here. The reason I do this is some CNC are very slow in execute large number of G-code lines. And the more points you have on your path, the more G-code lines you will have, and the CNC will be too slow, and it won't run as fast as what you want it to run at. So that's the reason I want to do that before I start painting the design with images. Okay, and again, I think we want to use the verification tools to make sure everything is okay. It looks like we have no more tiny areas. We don't have any other abnormalities that I can see. All it said right here is there are 45 regular paths. Regular paths are paths that have not been applied with images. That means everything that you see here are called regular paths. So we can now apply the images to this vector artwork. Okay. Doing that, I just basically open my images panel, select the path, and click on an image. And there we are. And I can move these. This is called the clipper path because it is used to clip the image underneath it and reflect and update the design. Okay, so I keep doing that until I find the one that I like. Okay, let's move it over here.
Can you rotate the image?
Yes, let's rotate this one. Let's put the anchor point of rotation somewhere there. Can you see the update on the design?
Yes.
Okay. So let's do that. Okay. Now there's a tool we call the Magic Wand tool. I want to set the color tolerance to be very low because otherwise it would be selecting similar colors. So I'm going to select, let's say, the ocean, and let's apply those paths with this image. Okay. And I don't want to spend too much time, but usually I do spend a lot of time at this stage to align the grain. But for this purpose, let's continue with the other paths. Here I do want to rotate and put it somewhere here. Okay. Another feature is, let's say I'm zooming in, and I want this path to have the same image as this one. So I'm going to use this tool called Image Picker tool. Click that. I go over here and click on the image I want to apply to it. And there we are. And rotate. Maybe the other way. Anyway, let's leave it. Okay, so I know what these paths, I'm going to use the same image as this one. So I'm going to use the same tool, the Image Picker tool, and apply the same image to all the paths. Now this is going to be tough. We have to actually move it around. I'm going to do it randomly here. I normally don't do this. I spend a lot of time making sure they are at the place where I want it. But let's just quickly do this. Get a little bit of the darker wood everywhere. Give it some characters. Okay. All right. Something like that.
So when you imported the image of that veneer, you had to specify the size then? Is that how it maps physically, or?
Well, the veneer, when you scan, is going to be exactly what the physical size is. So you don't need to specify the size again. It's 1:1 ratio with the scanner that I use. Well, most scanner would do that. Okay. So I'm going to, again, select similar color. I'm going to use something like maybe this white color. For this, we'll be using that one. Select all the brown color, and we'll select, I don't know, maybe this one. And here we're going to make it a little bit darker, so I'm going to use this one. Okay. The darker one, well, let's see. Let's use the same wood. Okay, now I can move to wherever I want. Probably need some shadows over here, so I'm going to move it there. The same thing with this guy. Probably want to rotate a little bit here. Okay, and this one. Rotate. Okay, I'll just leave everything there. If I have time, I would go through and do them all. Okay. The cool thing is when you select this one, you see the highlight over here, so you know where it is in order to move them. Same thing with this one. There's a highlight. Show you the corresponding path, clipper path. Okay. This one, I think I'm done with the design, basically. I have everything taken care of. Let's see if that's the case. I'll go back to my verification panel, okay? And the master, okay, let's see. The master path count is 41. The master paths are paths that already have images applied to them. The clipper paths are the paths that clip the image, like this one. This one is the clipper path. It's basically exactly the same size as the master path. Okay, clipper image count. That's how many clipper image we have in the palette. Okay, what we want to do here is find out why we have 4 regular paths. Those are paths that do not have images applied to them. So if I select them, okay, so it's saying this one. So I just deselect this one because that's the one that I don't want to apply an image to it. Okay, we have these 2 paths that have not any images applied to them. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm gonna move the verification panel outside here. Go to the image panel, maybe using this this purple heart with veneer for both of them. Okay, so we have 2 more regular paths here. Let's find out what they are. Okay, those are just basically the outline here and the ellipse inside. So I think we good with this design. So I think we're done. We're done applying all the images. For example, later on you want to make changes to, for example, this path. So all you have to do is just select it, and the image associated with it will be open, and you can start moving that path around. Okay. Same thing. Let's do this one. If you select it, the image associated with that path also open, and we can start moving things around. All right. I think I'm done. So far, any question that I can answer?
Remember to turn your microphone on if you've got a question, or send me a chat question if you don't have a microphone, and we'll try to get those questions answered.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's a good place to ask question. If you do, otherwise I'll continue.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Now, is this the what you've just demonstrated? The plug-in for Illustrator? Would this be the?
Yes.
Will so the plug-in for Illustrator will do all of this?
Yes. So the image panel here is ImagePaint feature, the Smart G-code panel, the laser panel, the image finder panel, and the verification panel. All these panels feature user interface are part of ImagePaint. If you don't have the plugin, you don't have all these panels. Everything I've done so far, I've used ImagePaint's feature. I have not used anything other than ImagePaint feature. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
What is the output file type for the laser generated toolpaths?
We can, okay, let's take a look at it. You have the option of .dxf or .svg output file.
Thank you.
Or you can, if your laser support printing from within Illustrator, you can always do that, which is a preferred way. take less time. So if I say I want to print a certain part of the design, I just go here and I select, let's say, Epilogue Engraver. Okay. That is the printer driver that Epilogue laser supplied when I purchased it. And it has power, speed, frequency setting for that particular job, so forth. Okay, let's close that. If there is no other question, I will continue. So the next step here is we want to create a pocket toolpath. Okay. In order to do this, I want to create another artboard. What is an artboard? In Illustrator, an artboard is just basically a white drawing area that we use to draw on. So I create this artboard. I'm going to copy let's move this guy to this artboard. Okay, so the idea here is we're gonna create a pocket the size of the oval, the shape of the oval, so that we can fit everything inside. I'm gonna turn on some smart guide to guide me with modifying the size of the artboard. Well, actually, it's easier to do this. Let's take a look at the size. We have width 10.25 and 13. Okay. So I just go in here and change the size. Width 13. No. I forgot what it was. Oh.
10.25 and 13? Is that what it was?
Thank you. That's 10.25 and 13. Okay. All right. 10.25.
Well, there you go.
I got it. And make sure this link is not on, otherwise it's going to make it proportionate to whatever it was before. So let's just enter 13. Okay. And I'm going to center it. We'll go here and do, where are you? I'm going to turn Smart Guide on so I can snap to this corner. All right, we got snap. All right, now. So what I want to do is, since, in Illustrator, I don't know what other program call it, but when you have a path that have holes in it, they are called compound paths. And so if I want to do this, I have to release compound path first, and then just delete the outer path. Okay, so what remains is what we want to use to excavate a piece of wood, in this case maybe a wooden plaque, in order for our marquetry and our pieces to fit inside. Okay. All right. For the CNC or for the profile toolpath, so before we do that, we want to create another artboard. So I'm going to create one somewhere here. Now this artboard will represent our CNC working area, and it doesn't have to be the same as the CNC working area. It can be any size. But preferably not larger than the CNC area. So I just created this artboard to represent our CNC. Okay. Now we want to create the toolpath. What we want to do now, okay, let me turn off the smart guy so it doesn't bother me. I select everything. And go to the Smart Cheat Code panel and click, make sure we want to use the same tool that we used before when we were rounding the corners. So make sure that is selected. And then we click on the Create Toolpath. Oh, before we do that, we want to make sure that we specify where we want the toolpath to be on. In this case, we want it to be on Outboard 6. You can see the Outboard name is displayed on top of each Outboard. Okay. So all I have to do is selecting that from here, Outboard 6, and click on the Create Toolpath button. So what it does is it goes through each image and determine what the thickness, the properties, all the CNC parameters that was associated each image, and create the toolpath for me. Okay. Since my CNC is so small, it will everything will be overlapped, but it doesn't matter. So let's take a look at one veneer sheet. To do that, I just select the one I want to view. Select this one, for example. And it will hide every other images, but the one that I just selected. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's zoom in.
Excuse me. What
Yes.
size sheets are you working with?
My CNC is small, and my laser is small. So when I purchased the veneers, I cut them to 18 inches long and 12 inches wide.
Thank you.
So what you see here is approximately the same size.
Now, is that the same size as your scanner?
Yes, it is. My scanner is a little bit smaller. Actually, it's 12 by 17. I couldn't find anything larger.
Okay.
I can, but it's much more expensive. But in my experience throughout the years, I don't need anything larger than 12 by 18, because marquetry cut into pieces and put them together. Even if you have a really large background, you can always cut them into pieces carefully by aligning the grain. So when you put them all together, you don't see the transition between the cut pieces. And I tried to do that, and it's very successful doing that. Okay, the green line here really is we call the tool movements above the material. So it starts at the top left corner, it moves over here, and it starts cutting the shape. If I zoom in, okay, see this blue line is actually just the path, and this blue line, however, is the toolpath. Okay, and I can view I can simulate the tool profile by selecting this, show the simulate tool diameter, and you can see the blue lines on top of the blue circles representing the tools. The color coding is this: if it's blue, then the tool cuts the material in the clockwise direction. If it is red, then it cuts in the counterclockwise direction. Okay. If I decided to move this toolpath, I can without having to recalculate the toolpath. I have to use a special selection tool, so I don't select the image behind it. So I'm going to select that. If I move it, you see the toolpath also move along with it. Okay. Or if I want to rotate, if I rotate, oops, I've done it again. I select everything. Control Z, using this tool, rotate. And the toolpaths would rotate along with it. And I can also delete it, and the toolpaths will be deleted along with the path. Okay. But notice when I do this, when I move or rotate the toolpath, the image over here doesn't change. So the preferred way of making changes is to move the clipper path. So if I move the clipper path, okay, my image, my artwork is updated as well as the toolpath got updated. For example, if I move down here, you see it's also moved down here, and the image is also updated here. That's the preferred way of modifying existing toolpaths. Okay. Now, if I want to work with the other toolpaths, I just select the image I want to work with, and the toolpaths will be displayed as well. Okay. Okay. Are there any questions so far?
Can you output this to a 3D printer from any of the file types that can be generated?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with 3D printer. Do they accept G-code file, or do they accept other file format?
G-code or the laser output. I would think it would be theoretically possible.
Well, we do generate a G-code file, yes, and if that 3D printer accepts it, I'm sure it can work with it. Does that make sense, or am I?
Yeah, for a 3D printer, it'd probably be better to export the shape, like a SVG or a DXF, and then you have to extrude it to a thickness before you were able to do it. But
in that case, yeah. In that case, just use Illustrator export tool under File menu and export to whatever format you want to export. And Illustrator have...
Extruding the thickness allows you to get a more Intarsia look to it, because there could be different heights of materials. Might be interesting to explore.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
What was that? I didn't get that idea.
If you export in a 3D printer type of file, Sean was saying that you have to tell the thickness that you want the 3D printer to print. And in your image, the lighthouse, you could have it be twice as thick as the background, so you get three-dimensional aspect, which is more like Kathy Wise's Intarsia. Pieces are not all the same height, and they're sanded and curved, and it's a more three-dimensional type of a picture.
I get it. Okay, so far we've created toolpaths for the lighthouse. Now, if I want to create the toolpath that would excavate the material, okay, I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to select the material for that wooden plaque. And let's select something like maybe oak. And then we're going to select the preset, Common Veneer Pocketing. Okay. And we're going to specify the artboard we want to place it on, artboard 5. And all these parameters are automatically looked up when we do this, when we select Common Veneer Pocketing. All the related CNC parameter will be displayed automatically to handle the Common Veneer Pocketing job type or preset. Okay. So it will be excavating down to 0.03 inches. We have the home Y, X, Y, Z home, safe Z, 1/4 inch, and we're going to do a climb, conventional, unrestricted. The origin, probably want to do center, make it easier for us to align later on. And here we can select multiple tools, but we can select multiple tools to actually excavate it. In this case, we just want to use a pretty large tool to do that. Okay. And then click on the Create Toolpath button. And there we are. And so the red lines indicate the tool movement in the counterclockwise direction. Okay. Again, we can also see or simulate the tool diameter with this menu. Okay. Okay, the green circles indicate that the tool is actually also cutting one from toolpath to toolpath. Otherwise, you will see a non-solid circle if it moves above the material. So anything that's solid means that it's cutting the board. That's one way of, that's the only way that you would want to check. Make sure that, hey, you know, my tool is not cutting where it shouldn't be cutting by looking at, is it a solid circle or is it an empty circle? In this case, it's cutting the board when it moves from path to path, so it doesn't actually lift up the tool, but it continues from toolpath to toolpath and excavating the ellipse. Okay. You know, when we're creating toolpaths, there are common problems that most people face when handling toolpaths. The problem is the path that is used to create the toolpath is not directly linked to the toolpath. This creates these issues. If you move or rotate the path, the tool doesn't follow. If you show or hide a path, it does not hide or show the toolpath. Or when you're deleting a path, it does not delete the toolpath. My philosophy is that everything, the toolpath and the path that used to create the toolpath are tightly linked together. It is easier for me to manage without having to worry about my toolpath has been created, but it has a different CNC parameter, and the other toolpath has a different CNC parameter from the same shape. It can be confusing. So that's why I chose to design the software this way. And I've shown you a little bit of that functionality earlier by moving the toolpath, and moving the path, and the toolpath would follow. Or when you rotate a path, the toolpath would follow. Or when you hide, delete a path, the same action applied to the toolpath. Now, if we want to, another problem with conventional toolpath is it does not store within itself the CNC parameters that were used to create it. This represents the following problem. There's no way to copy the CNC parameter of an existing toolpath to create another toolpath with the same CNC parameter. Another problem is we cannot select a toolpath and change just one parameter, such as cutting depth, and then recalculate. We cannot do that because the toolpath does not contain all the CNC parameter used to create it. Let's do an example. I'm gonna open a new document. So let's draw a rectangle. Okay. And let's use tool number 2 and create a smart profiling outside toolpath on Outboard 1. Let's draw another one. This time let's select tool number 4 and do the same thing. Okay. So if you look over here, when I select this toolpath, it displays all the CNC parameter related to that particular toolpath. It uses tool number 4. But when I select this toolpath, it tells me that it was created using tool number 2. Okay. And the same is true for all other CNC parameters. The toolpath contains all that information. So let's, for example, if I want to create toolpath for this rectangle, but using all the parameters that were stored in this toolpath, I simply select it. And as you can see, all the CNC parameters are displayed on the G-code panel. Then I select the new rectangle and click on the Create Toolpath button. Okay. Let's say if I want to edit an existing toolpath, but I forgot what CNC parameter was used for that toolpath. For example, was it a CNC 0 using bottom of material, top material? Was it a smart profiling? Was it using climb or conventional? What was the Z save, the feed rate, the material that was used to create the toolpath? All those CNC parameters will be displayed as soon as I do this. Select it. Now let's say if I want to change the Z depth, the path depth, or the depth of cut, I can go ahead and change that. Let's say change it to 1 inch, and then I just recalculate the toolpath with the new Z depth. Okay.
Okay, Vince.
Yeah.
Mr. Ted here. Just wanted to keep everybody on track. We got about 15 more minutes, so
okay.
We want to try to move on and get everything that you want to cover in that time if we can.
Okay. So thank you, Ted, for reminding me. I think we have a few things to talk about. The last thing I want to talk about, or maybe the next to last thing I want to talk about, is how to generate the G-code file. So what I do is I select the image over here and select the post processor. For example, I have a step craft, so I'm going to select that. And then I specify where I want to output it, and then the name is automatically contain the name of that wood image. And now I can also change the name, but I like to use the same name as the image name, so we know how to we know that is from that particular image. And then I just create the toolpath, the G-code file by clicking on that button. Okay. And to view the G-code file, I can click this text, and there we are. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And if we open it, we can see the G-code file being created for that file. Okay. If we want to create the G-code file for this pocket, we want to make sure that we select Artboard file, because it's going to take a look at what's on Artboard file and create the G-code file. And then we can name it pocket, and then create, and then click on this button. Okay. Okay, so we have the pocket and the wood veneers. The last thing we want to do is let's say after all veneers have been cut, we want to update the image with the cutout area so that we can reuse it. That is, we can avoid the cut area. To do this, we simply select the whole design, assuming that everything has been cut. I select the whole design, and I click on this update selected cutter images. Okay, let's do that. And it's going to go through and populate. Okay, 7 cutter images were updated. All right. So it went through all the images that we selected and update the images to contain the cutout area. And let's go and take a look. Sorry. To open where the image was stored, we go to the Images panel and click on the directory name. Okay, so if I click on that, it's going to show all my images are organized into subfolders. For example, rosewood, purple heart. Inside it, you see the actual image. Okay, all these were done automatically by ImagePaint. And in the temp folder, we can see the updated images. There you go. Okay.
Very cool.
So the next time we use these images, we know where to avoid them. Okay.
So what you're saying is the next time you grab that sheet of veneer, you'll know not to place your artwork over a piece that's already been cut out.
That's right, Ted. It doesn't update right now. As you can see, you don't have those black areas. I want to do that in order for us to continue working on that same project. But as soon as you close all the documents and then reopen that same document, the new image, the updated image will be brought in, and you will see black all over the design. And all you have to do is you move to a different. You want to do that right now? If you have time, I can do that right now.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, let's save it. And we're going to close all the design, all the document.
Vincent, somebody's knocking on the door. Let him in.
Oh, I keep forgetting. Okay.
Yeah, I can't see that. You guys are seeing that, but I'm not seeing that on my end. Because he's got control, but I don't know.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. This is my first time on Join Me. Okay, so I'm reopening the document. Oh, there we are. Oh, oops. Okay. You see all the black area now? But the toolpath is still there. You can move this guy over here, okay? And we have. Okay, there it is. We can move it around. Okay, so that's it. One thing. One more thing. The Image Finder, a very cool tool, the new add-on. I want to quickly go through that with you. Very quickly here. I'm going to move these to a different area. Okay. For example, we finish the design, we apply all the images. You spend a lot of time locating where the clipper path should be to give us the grain direction, the figures, the shadow and highlights and tonal variation of the wood, so you see, and we want to make changes. Image Finder. I created this. I used it since 2010 because it helped me to quickly, for example, I want to merge these two paths together. Okay. I select them and I specify which path I want to which image I want to keep its position the same. For example, if I want to still want to see this dark area, then I want to click again, okay, to specify I want to keep that image. And then I do a merge or unite. I click that, and as you can see, everything is being merged into one single path. Another cool tool. Let me open this design that my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, she did this one. She took a photograph and using a pen tool, a pencil tool that Illustrator has, and trace the photograph into vector shapes. And then she applied all the wood images to form this picture. When we have, normally my program runs very fast, but I guess since we are sharing video, Illustrator is slow to a halt. Okay, she took this image, which is a photograph. She started using this tool called the pen tool, and she started tracing it. And I'll show you how to do that later on, maybe a different video of how to actually go through that. So after she finished, she want to crop this. She don't want this size. She want to crop this design. So in order to crop this design without having to remove all the images, Illustrator allows you to crop design, but you have to remove all the images and then reapply the image after you crop it. And that is very painful because we don't remember where all the paths were on the image. Let's say I want to make it smaller, so I'm going to draw a path. Okay. I want to make sure we have some fill. Okay, anyway, let's see. Okay, so I want to crop the design to that rectangle. I draw it, and then I select everything. Okay, so we select everything, including the red rectangle for cropping. And then I click on the crop button here. Okay, so what I did, let me take a look. I don't see it. I don't see the crop path. I think the crop path has to be on top of everything else. Let me delete that. Let's do it again. Okay. I'm going to make it no fill and some color. Doesn't have even any color. And I want to say arrange, bring to front. Okay. Okay, let's try it again. Select the whole thing and crop. Okay, there it is. So the cropping operation went okay. And if you click on an image or path, you see it's also cropped. Everything is synchronized. Whatever you do over here with Image Finder, everything is modified the same way. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, if I want to resize this, I need to turn on Show Bounding Box. With the bounding box, we can actually resize this. Okay, I'm going to resize it, make it a little bit smaller. As we can see, when we resize the artwork, the size of the clipper path remain the same. Okay, so we have to synchronize it. In order to do that, we just select everything and click this button to synchronize the operation. Okay, so let's take a look at it again. The same path. Yeah, it is the same size now. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit, maybe spend 1 minute talk about Intarsia. Well, Intarsia, the only thing you need to change is when you want to create the toolpath, you select it and you want to modify the Z-depth for the material that you want to cut, let's say for 1 inch, and then click on the Create Toolpath button. So the same methodology you have to follow for Intarsia. The only thing that's different is the thickness of the material. And actually, you can add all the materials, your materials that you use, using into this material database, and specify all the thickness for all those materials that you're going to be using. And that would then be automatically looked up once you select that image. Okay, I'm done with the presentation. There are still lots of things I have not talked about. Most of those are features supporting the customization of ImagePaint to automate tasks specific to your CNC setup and applications, such as making sign and other 2D applications. So thank you, everybody, for being so kind and patient with me. I'm done with the presentation and is ready to take your questions now.
Documentation. Do you have documentation that comes with the software?
Okay, the documentation will be a PDF file. It's a very detailed step-by-step instruction showing you how to do various functions. And you can also see it over here on my website. Okay, and what it does is it uses a pattern included in the software download, and you can open that pattern along and follow the step-by-step procedure to create and cut the veneers. Okay. Yeah, and the tutorial menu is in here. Is in Window, ImagePaint Design, and then go to ImagePaint Tutorial. You can open the design file, or you can open the tutorial I just showed you from the web browser, or you can open the tutorial PDF file. And if you open the sample folder, there are many other, well, actually not many, a few other patterns that you can use. Even if you haven't purchased the software, you can use those and be able to access all the features, but only to those sample files. Once you purchase, then of course everything is possible. So let's say if I open the design file, it will open the tropical fish design. I've been working on this tropical fish design, so I probably modified it and apply images to it. But basically, it doesn't have anything other than a vector design. then you follow the tutorial and generate G-code file, generate all the steps. Of course, it's more detailed than what I presented so far. It talks about how to modify the CNC tool panel and so forth. Okay, let's cancel that. Another thing I want to mention is as long as we all here, it's very important to. Here it is. Yeah. This is the test design used in that. Here, the CNC tool panel is a bit different from what you're used to. It not only have all the CNC parameter, but the CNC parameter is related to the material. For example, if you have an end mill 0.01 and you want to cut wood veneer hard, then the pass depth, the feed rate and the plunge rate and everything else change. If you change the material, for example, shell veneer, then the feed rate will be slower and the plunge rate is slower. So it is the tool actually depend on what materials you want to cut, and that's why it was possible for me to just select the material. The feed rate and the plunge rate automatically changed before I create the toolpath. I don't have to go in there and and enter all those feed rate, plunge rate, and pass depth for the creation of the toolpath. Okay, I'm done. That's it. Any other questions?
Wonderful. Yeah, let's just open it up for a minute or two in case guys got last-minute questions. You had mentioned that you were going to offer a 30% discount, so
yes,
$100 off.
Actually, $100 off from a $300 software. That is, if you buy the G-Code Pro or the Laser Pro, which only support either laser or CNC router. If you buy the other one, it costs a little bit more, $400, but with the coupon, it would be $300, and you can work with both CNC router and laser. And in order to do that, I don't know if we should send the coupon on Join Me, because Ted, you're going to be showing the videos later on, so people are going to see it and they're going to use it. So my recommendation is just, if I don't have your email address, send it to my email, and I will send a coupon to you and use it. And the coupon will be limited to maybe 30 counts.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, just go to support at Amazon Canvas and put in there Michigan CNC, and he'll know that you want to purchase a copy, and he'll give you the discount.
Also, another important thing is if you want to test ImagePaint post processor for your CNC, please email me your post processor name that you normally use for Vectric software. I will create a G-code file and send back to you and see if it works.
That's wonderful. That's really nice. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and reclaim the presenter role. And
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, this is Mary Ann. Ted and I, we have a laser engraver, so we were just wondering how the application works for laser engravers. Do you have to turn the veneer over and cut it from the back, or do we need to buy the other software that's not for the CNC?
Well, if you also have, thanks, Mary, for the question. All the technicality of getting the best fit for a CNC router, for laser, is all contained within the laser panel that you saw earlier. It will mirror, it will offset based on the laser diameter that you input to it. And if you want to support both laser and CNC router, then you purchase the CNC Pro version, CNC Pro edition. Then it will support both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for lasers, it's all, you've seen a lot of these artworks that were created or inlay or marquetry created with the laser. You don't see the tight fit, and there are a few things that people don't want to do, mainly rounding the corners. CNC, whether it's a CNC or laser, you need to round the corners. You need to flip the design over because the laser would cut on the negative side so that when you flip it over, you have a tight fit. Okay, Ted.
Do we have any other questions?
Do you have to be an expert in Illustrator before you can use your add-on?
Well, as you've seen, the only Illustrator feature I was using was a selection tool, the rotate tool, the resizing tool. So, no, the short answer is no. If you already have a vector design from your favorite software you want to import into Illustrator, then the answer is no. Otherwise, it will be a bit more time consuming to just use Illustrator to come up with a vector design.
Excellent.
Because after you have the vector design completed, everything is done with, all the feature ImagePaint provide to you, you use. You no longer have to use Illustrator features at all, functions at all.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. We've been just a little bit over an hour. We appreciate everybody being patient. And Vincent, we really want to thank you for hosting tonight and giving us this information. A lot of us wasn't aware of this in the past, and I think it'll be beneficial, and I think someone will find it interesting and a new challenge for them. So once again, we'd like to thank you for hosting and sharing this program with us. We can obviously see that you put a lot of time and effort and energy into it. It's really a unique program.
Well, thank you, Ted. Really, it is my passion. I do this all the time. I do this every day, and thank you for the opportunity. I love to share with everyone. Thank you, everybody, for being so kind.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then anybody else has got any other questions, we're going to hang on just for a few minutes and answer any other questions that people have. Okay, so this is the end of the program.